Um, the case is a 29-year-old lady named Usha lives in Mumbai and has a formal education up to 12th class and by occupation is a bank worker. So we have the chief complaints by the patient that are the breathlessness from the past 7 days, cough and fever. The cough is with expectoration, so it is the type of productive cough, and the history of present illness in which we have the cough, which is also known as ptosis. So the onset is sudden. The duration is from last 7 days. The progression is gradual, and it is with expectoration, that is with presence of sputum, and it has presence of thick brown color sputum, which is increasing during the evening time. So,
Continue.
okay. So the aggravating factors are nil. That is, no factor are responsible for increasing the level of cough during uh, the according to the posture or according to the time of according to the duration of day. So
Okay.
next we uh, it it also does not have any relieving factor, so it is also nil. Then we have it increase in the diurnal time, that is increase during the evening, and it does not have any seasonal variation or positional variation.
Okay. Next.
The next
Rohan
complaint,
Purna history. Please complete the history. We will then discuss the history. Then you present the examination. Then we will discuss the
okay,
examination. So till your complete history is done, you continue speaking.
okay, sir.
Yes.
So we have the condition of breathlessness, that is also known as dyspnea. So in it also we have the sudden onset, and the duration is from the past 7 days. The patient is seeing a progression, that is she is experiencing breathlessness or dyspnea while walking 100 meters. So it can be according to the MMRC grading, we can grade it as the grade 3 breathlessness. Also, we have no diurnal variation or seasonal or positional variation, and no relieving factors. The next, so we will be discussing the MMRC grading after the completion of the history. Then we have the next complaint, which is by the patient, that is the fever or pyrexia. Uh, it is also from the last 7 days, and it has continuous progression, that is increasing, and it is associated with chills and has a high grade and has no aggravating factor, but can be relieved or can be decreased with the help of the paracetamol, and has no diurnal variation, that is no increase in the time of evening. So since the patient is lady, we also have to check about the menstrual history, that is, uh, as the patient tells us about the onset of menstrual or the onset of menstruation, that is the menarche from the 13th year of age. Then we have the bleeding. uh, this is the recent history which has been taken from the patient, that is bleeding for 5 days and the cycle is normal for the 28 days without any passage of blood clots. And then we have the last menstrual bleeding, which has occurred 2 weeks ago, and the lady is an unmarried female. So moving towards the negative history, we have no history of the evening rise of temperature, that is, hello sir.
Our presentation बंद हो गया है. Please share the presentation again. Please share the screen again.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So in the negative history, we have no history of evening rise of temperature or weight loss or hemoptysis, that is presence of blood in the sputum. There is no history of tar or coal dust smoke or any contact with similar complaints. There is no history of hospital admission. So इकडे diagnosis पण explain करायचे.
No, you have to just present. We'll discuss later on. Bro.
Okay. Okay.
Be a bit fast.
So okay, sir. So also we don't have any history of chest pain, nor headache and neck rigidity. There is no swelling of feet or exacerbation, cough at night, uh, pulmonary embolism. The patient, and also there is no history of complaints in contact with COVID positive individuals. Then we take a look at the past history in which we don't have any similar complaints in the past. That is, no history of diabetes mellitus, hypertension, bronchial asthma, or its malignancy, and tuberculosis in the past. We also don't have any history of surgery or any medical intervention, and no history of any other treatment. Then we have the family history in which we don't have uh, complaints related to diabetes mellitus, hypertension, bronchial asthma, malignancy, tuberculosis in the family. And lastly, and the next which we have is the personal history. In it, we have the diet, which is the mixed type of diet which has been taken up by the patient, that is both veg and non-veg. The appetite is normal, the sleep is adequate, the bowel and bladder habits are normal. There is no substance abuse found in the patient, none smoking calculating index, or no weight loss. And the socio-economic history. Uh, so the total income of the family is around 45,000 INR per year, and since the number of people in the family are five, so per person it comes out to be 9,000 INR per person, which is based upon, and according to the BG Prasad classification, the patient comes under the upper class, uh, and its significance is shown in the lower or middle income class, which are at high risk of uh, which are at high risk of prone to disease. So general physical examination.
Okay, go back. We'll discuss the history first. Go to chief complaints. Okay, so
Yes.
your patient is coming with breathlessness of 7 days, cough and since 7 days, and fever since 7 days, right? Okay,
Yes, sir.
so first tell me, a cough of 7 days, is it a acute cough, subacute cough, or chronic cough?
Sir, acute cough. Since it is less than 3 weeks.
Okay, fine. Can you tell me few causes of acute cough?
Uh, it could be upper respiratory tract infections, uh, acute bronchitis, or acute hypersensitivity pneumonitis. That is
Okay.
inflammation.
Okay, any specific causes, very characteristically acute cough?
Uh,
Common ones, very common ones.
Very common ones.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. You have a child brought by a mother with a sudden bout of cough and breathlessness. What would you think of?
The barking cough.
No, no. A child has been brought to you by the mother with sudden onset paroxysmal coughing and breathlessness. What would you think of? Bronchial asthma,
Bronchial asthma. Okay.
right? So, bronchial asthma, acute exacerbation of COPD, these are very common causes of acute cough. Okay, can you tell me few causes of sudden onset breathlessness?
Sudden onset breathlessness.
Okay, if the main speaker is unable to answer, anyone in the audience can unmute themselves and try to answer in between.
Allergic reactions?
Okay,
Also bronchial asthma.
correct. One is bronchial asthma. Anything else?
Type 4 hypersensitivity maybe?
Okay, any specific related to respiratory disease, Omkar? Okay, I'll give you a hint again as a clinical scenario. You are a intern, you are going for the round in the hospital. There is a patient who is admitted in the ward and he has been just operated for a fracture in the femur, and 3 days has passed that he has not been mobilized, and suddenly the nurse comes with hurry to you and says that the patient is complaining of very harsh amount of breathlessness and chest pain. What would you think of?
Pulmonary embolism.
Correct. So please remember, pulmonary embolism is one of the most common causes of sudden onset breathlessness. Okay. Now here there is 7 days of history. It would not be pulmonary embolism, but when it comes to hours, when we say in hours, like 1 hour or 3 hours, before 4 hours, if there is a breathlessness coming up with no acute history of breathlessness in the past, then it is more likely to be pulmonary embolism. Okay. Uh, Rohan, can you tell me few respiratory causes of fever?
Respiratory causes of fever could be increase in temperature because of
What does fever indicate, Rohan?
the increase in temperature.
What does that indicate? Fever is increase in temperature. Everyone knows that. But what does a fever indicate? It indicates infection.
Yes,
Correct.
infection.
So what are
The
the
upper
what are the different form of infections in the respiratory tract that can present as fever? That's the indirect question.
uh, so upper respiratory tract infection,
Okay, such as
upper respiratory tract infection such as tu- tuberculosis
okay. Anything else?
uh, and
Does
Tonsillitis.
correct?
Like
Anything else?
Coronavirus.
Pharyngitis.
What?
Pharyngitis. Laryngitis.
Correct, correct. One more. Anything else? Very common. Have you heard
Viral
of
infections.
sinusitis?
sinusitis.
Yes, so patient presents with fever and headache. Correct. So that is one of the causes. Okay, next slide, Rohan.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's come to cough. Can you tell
But
me what?
sinusitis में febrile response is necessary नहीं है, no?
No, see, sinusitis can be just as a inflammatory sinusitis, a viral sinusitis, or a bacterial sinusitis. If it is a bacterial sinusitis, then you will get a very high grade fever. If it is just a inflammatory or a allergic sinusitis, you will not get a fever necessarily. Okay, fine. Cough. Yes.
हेलो सर,
Yes, yes.
निमोनिया क्यों नहीं हो सकता?
हाँ, pneumonia can be one of the causes. He told me upper respiratory, so that was what I was expecting. It could be pneumonia also, because since it's a cough with expectoration, definitely. So can you tell a few causes, lower respiratory causes of fever?
Sir, pneumonia first.
Okay, anything other than that?
Then it could be COPD.
Correct, acute exacerbated COPD. Anything else?
COVID-19.
COVID,
What?
COVID-19 also.
Yes, definitely. We should not forget it now. COVID-19. Okay,
COVID-19.
cough. Tell me, Rohan, what are the types of cough? There are two basic types of cough. What are those two types of cough?
We have the dry cough and the productive cough.
Okay, can you tell me few respiratory causes of dry cough?
Uh, res- co- Asthma,
No, asthma is usually a productive
acute,
cough.
yes,
Okay, simple.
gastroesophageal reflux.
I'll give you a simple trick to understand. What do you mean by dry cough and what do you mean by expectorating or productive cough? Productive या expectoration क्या होता है? What is that expectoration? It is just nothing but the mucosal secretions and the debris because of some infection that is going to be thrown out by the act of coughing. That is your productive or expectoration, right? So if I say that my patient is having dry cough, that means it has to be a cough which is originating without production of excess of mucus or without any epithelial debris. So that suggests that upper respiratory cough, usually the pharyngitis, laryngitis, they usually present as dry cough, whereas bronchitis, bronchiectasis, pneumonia, all of these lower respiratory form of infections, they present with expectorating cough. Okay.
Yes.
सर स्मोक इनहेलेशन भी हो सकता है ना?
Yes,
Fog
these are
inhalation.
occupational. These are all occupational form of coughings. Even we also get some sort of allergic cough if we pass through smoke or we pass through dust
Silicon.
particles. So those are allergic
Pneumoconiosis.
responses. Pneumoconiosis totally becomes an occupational interstitial lung disease, and it is a lower respiratory tract disease. So it will present with expectoration. Okay, I'll come to that also. Okay, Rohan, can you tell me causes of productive cough?
Uh, so productive cough, as you mentioned, bronchiectasis and TB. Uh, Also, we have asthma and empyema.
Okay, now your patient has expectoration with brown color, and it has not having any positional variation or postural variation. Okay, can you tell me depending on color, how do you can you tell me few diagnoses depending on the color of this sputum?
Depending upon the color, we can have, if the color is green, then it has high chances that it is a bacterial infection.
Very
If
specific. Give me the name of
specific,
bacteria. Green color
Pseudomonas,
sputum hai, which bacteria would you suspect?
Pseudomonas,
Okay, I'll tell you a color, you tell me the answer in a single word. Okay, you have a rusty brown color sputum. Which bacteria do you think?
rusty brown color sputum, uh, Streptococcus pneumoniae,
Correct. Or you have a pink colored sputum, pink colored frothy sputum. What disease do you think of? It is not a bacterial infection, but it is a disease. You have pink frothy colored sputum. बहुत
cause of
frothy है.
edema,
Pulmonary
cause of
ed-
edema,
pulmonary edema. Okay, you have a yellow colored sputum. Which bacteria do you think of?
yellow color sputum.
TB.
But then,
No. Staph aureus.
Staph aureus,
Yes. If you have a currant jelly colored sputum, which bacteria would you think of?
Klebsiella,
Correct. If you have blood tinge in the sputum, what could be your differential diagnosis? What do you mean by blood tinge sputum? Firstly, tell me that.
it means that it is blood tinge in sputum refers to hemoptysis,
Okay,
uh,
okay.
which
Tell me
is
what is the difference between hemoptysis and hematemesis?
hemoptysis is coughing out of the blood, and hematemesis is presence of uh, blood in the presence of blood in the
In the vomitus.
emesis,
In
in
the
the
womb.
vomiting, emesis,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
emesis.
Now I have you are sitting in a lab, suppose. Okay, or you are just an intern and patient's relative has called you saying that एक पैन दिया है, पैन में पेशेंट ने कुछ आइदर कफ किया है या वॉमिट किया है, हमको पता नहीं. You have a sample in that pan. How will you identify from that sample whether it is a hemoptysis or a hematemesis just by the appearance?
स्पूटम अगर रहा तो फिर ज्यादा थिक होना चाहिए. और
Okay. Can color give you some hint?
मे बी hemostasis would have dark red color because of presence of blood along, and hematemesis may since it is a type of vomiting, it would have other content as in maybe.
Okay, I'll tell you. This is absolutely correct. Apart from this, very characteristically, in hemoptysis, you will get fresh blood, very fresh, dark red colored blood. Okay, but when it is hematemesis, now very clearly you would think if it is hematemesis, the patient is vomiting. With vomitus, other than food, what will be mixed in that? There will be HCl. Correct? There will be hydrochloric acid. Now, tell me, have you done in your physiology labs, there is a practical of hemoglobin estimation जिसमें हम blood को mix करते हैं HCl के साथ. Okay.
No, sir.
If you have not done, you will or you might read it about later, but the principle is somewhat similar here. When the patient vomits, the HCl in the stomach also comes out. So what happens with the hemoglobin which is released from the RBCs? The HCl reacts with it and there is formation of a compound called as hematin, acid hematin. Okay, that acid hematin has yellow golden color. So either there will be a very dark brown color of the sample or the sample will have golden yellow tinge because of formation of acid hematin if it is hematemesis. Okay.
सर ये हेमाटिन मतलब वो ऑक्सीडाइज्ड हीमोग्लोबिन क्या?
No, oxidized hemoglobin is totally different. Acid hematin is a chemical composition where hemoglobin reacts with HCl to form a hematin product. It's totally different from your oxidized hemoglobin. Okay, fine. Can you tell me few aggravating factors for a cough?
Aggravating factors could be like of eating oily food.
Cough. I am not asking vomiting. Cough. Simple factors are just we discussed some time ago. Dust है, smoke है,
स्मोक फॉग.
right? Okay. Can you tell me any example where the expectoration is related to vary with position of the patient?
In case of asthma,
No.
it is diurnal variation.
Maybe pneumonia.
No. Have you heard of a disease called bronchiectasis?
Bronchiectasis, yes.
Yes, so what happens in bronchiectasis? There is abnormal dilatation of bronchi, and along with that, there will be some injury to the cilia, because of which the bacterial flora or the bacteria growing in the mucus will grow further more abnormally. So because of that, there will be a lot of expectoration that will get accumulated into the dilated bronchus. So what happens when the patient is sitting upright? There will be some minimal expectoration, but when the patient sleeps down, you will be able to observe very classical picture ki whenever patient sleeps down, he immediately goes to one or the lateral positions because that fluid starts to spread out through the pathway of that bronchi, causing more irritation, and the patient tries to move laterally and suddenly coughs out volumes and volumes of cough. Okay, that is also called as bronchoria. So bronchoria with positional variation, that is increased expectoration after lying down, is very characteristic of bronchiectasis. Okay.
Sir, can you please repeat?
Okay, see, when the patient is sitting, there will be minimal amount of expectoration. But when the patient sleeps, imagine you have a tube. In the tube you are having thick secretion. If you are making that tube to be upright, very minimal thing will come out from it. But when you slant out that tube, or when you horizontalize that tube, what will happen, some amount of fluid will spread uniformly through the surface. Somewhat similar thing happens here. The secretions in the bronchi are going to have some mobility because of fluidity, right? So when they move inside the bronchi, they start irritating the mucosa, because of which the patient feels some irritation in the chest, and immediately because of that irritation the patient goes to one of the lateral decubiti, either to the left or to the right. And once the patient goes to those decubiti, the patient immediately starts coughing out large amount of expectoration. This is called as postural coughing or postural bronchoria, which is characteristic of bronchiectasis. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, chalo. Can you tell me, Rohan, few patterns of coughing? Have you heard of barking cough, whooping cough?
Yes, sir.
Where do you see them? Any classic examples?
Like we have the bovine cough, in which the person coughs like an animal,
Okay.
which the recurrent laryngeal nerve is not working properly.
Okay.
Then we have
Okay,
the
can you
barking
tell
cough.
me any cause where recurrent laryngeal nerve is not working, or there is some problem with the recurrent laryngeal nerve? Few examples, conditions where recurrent laryngeal nerve is not working, apart from trauma, because I know trauma will be one example you will give. Apart from trauma, any other cause?
Maybe increasing the size of the thyroid gland.
Okay, correct. Anything else?
Aortic aneurysm.
Okay, anything else? Correct. You are a slight
Cardiomegalia.
close. You are slightly close. What?
Cardiomegalia maybe.
Okay, which chamber of the heart enlargement can present with recurrent laryngeal nerve compression?
Left atrium.
Perfect, correct. Anything else? Think very simply. Recurrent laryngeal का कोर्स याद करो. कोर्स में रिकरेंट लैरिंजल नर्व के रिलेशन में कौन से स्ट्रक्चर्स है. डिसीज ऑफ दैट स्ट्रक्चर विल कॉज कंप्रेशन ऑफ द नर्व, राइट? सो वन इज थायराइड, वन इज एओर्टा, one is left atrium,
Auricle.
one is left auricle, one is left atrium itself, and one part is the part between the esophagus and the trachea. So if you have a esophageal diverticulum which is compressing over the recurrent laryngeal nerve, then also you can get a bovine cough. Okay, fine. Where you get barking cough?
Diverticulum क्या रहता है?
क्या?
What is diverticulum?
Ouching.
Diverticulum is just a outpouching from the wall of any of the visceral structure. Like suppose you take esophagus. Esophagus is a tubular structure. So uske muscle coat, entire wall of that esophagus sort of herniates from that normal area, and you get a outpouching from that area. That is called diverticulum.
अच्छा हाँ, वो
Okay.
एंटीरियो में पड़ा था वो.
Okay. What is barking cough?
It is like similar to the barking, like
Okay,
it
where
is a
do you
type
get
of
barking cough? Just give me example. Where do you get barking cough?
Croup.
Croup, correct. Okay, what is the cause for croup?
bacterial infection.
Which bacterial
Yes.
infection?
Diphtheria.
Let me correct. Croup is never a bacterial disease. Croup is a viral disease, and it is caused by respiratory syncytial virus. Okay, very rarely it becomes as a bacterial, but usually it is a respiratory syncytial virus type 2 which causes croup or laryngotracheobronchitis. Okay, fine. Chalo, next slide.
Breathlessness. So Yes, sir.
Okay. I have asked already about acute onset breathlessness. Okay. Just describe the MMRC grading of breathlessness.
MMRC grading of breathlessness.
Yes.
So yes,
Yes, this one only.
so five. Yes. So five types of MMRC grading, depending upon the uh, grade of the breathlessness. So in it, we have the first type, that is trouble in breathlessness during the exercise. The second is during the shortness of breath or while walking on a hill. Uh, तो यही ना, मतलब पढ़ना ही है ना ऐसे।
Yes, okay, no worries. So, can you tell me, Rohan, this is the grading 1 to 5, okay? Uh,
Yes, sir.
if my patient is having grade 5 breathlessness, okay, too breathless to leave the house or breathless when dressing or undressing, okay, means in short, simply patient is breathless on rest. So, can you tell me two types of breathlessness at rest?
Uh, your PD.
Types, not examples. Types of breathlessness at rest. Have you heard of orthopnea, platypnea?
Yes, orthopnea.
So, what is
Uh-huh.
orthopnea?
Uh, like it is difficulty in breathing while sitting or standing position.
Supine position.
Supine position. See, very simple.
Exactly.
Many
Yes.
times we confuse it. I'll tell you simple concept to understand. Many times we have the confusion between ortho and platy. See, very simple. You have to split that word. Okay. Ortho and eupnea. It's not orthoapnea. It is orthoeupnea or platyeupnea. Now, ortho means what? Ortho means standing or sitting position, and eupnea means normal breathing. Okay. Platypnea. Platy means flat, and eupnea means normal breathing. So what does that mean is orthopnea means that when the patient is sitting or standing, the patient is able to breathe normally. But when lying down, the patient is not able to breathe. That is orthopnea. And platypnea means exactly opposite of that. When the patient is lying down, the patient is able to breathe, but when patient sits, the patient is not able to breathe. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you
सर
tell me?
प्लेटिपनिया किस में होता है?
Platypnea is very characteristic of something called as hepatopulmonary syndrome. Okay, when a patient has a very high uncontrolled portal hypertension, what happens because of this uncontrolled portal hypertensions? All the veins which are connected to the portal vein, your extra portal system veins, they open up, and one of them have connection with the portal venous plexus, your pulmonary venous plexus as well, because of which what happens is there is a abnormal communication that takes place between the systemic and pulmonary blood flow. So what happens when a patient has a very severe portal hypertension, when the patient uh, sits when the patient sits, these abnormal communications open up, and because of which the patient feels breathless. But when the patient sleeps or is lying flat or lying supine, what happens? The diaphragm is pushed upwards, because of which these communications close up. And since these communication close up, the patient has a normal breathing. Okay, that is called platypnea. So platypnea is very characteristic of hepatopulmonary syndrome. सिर्फ इतना याद रखना, nothing more than that is needed. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, चलो next slide.
So, fever or firing.
Okay, what do you mean? What is the significance of chills?
Presence of chills.
Okay, I have a patient who says chills. Okay, I have a patient who has chills. What will I tell him? What kind of fever he has? What does chills represent? Just below that you have written something. grade. Okay, so please remember chills
Grade.
and rigor represent high grade of fever.
Okay.
Okay, so if you don't have a thermometer with you, if you don't have a thermometer with you and the patient comes to you saying that I am having fever and chills and rigors, even if the body temperature apparently when the patient comes to is relatively not high, but he says that yesterday at night he was having chills and rigor, this simply means that at that time the patient was having high grade fever. Okay.
So chills with rigor.
Rigors.
Rigor.
Okay, fine. Okay, what is continuous fever, intermittent fever, remittent fever?
So continuous fever, it is the temperature which has temperature permanent temperature of 38 degrees Celsius and fluctuation of around 1 degree Celsius daily.
Okay,
And then we have the
intermittent fever.
intermittent fever. It is the high spike or rapid effervescence. Like
Okay, can you tell me the types of
very
intermittent fever?
intermittent fever, we have quotidian fever, tertian fever, and quartan fever.
Okay, where do you get tertian fever?
In case of Plasmodium vivax virus, Plasmodium
Virus.
vivax.
The virus.
Sorry, sorry, sir.
Okay, okay, no
Plasmodium.
worries. ठीक है. Just try that your tongue doesn't slip off. So be that aware. Okay, so Plasmodium vivax and will cause tertian fever, and Plasmodium malariae it causes Cortian fever. Okay, can you give an example of remittent fever?
Uh, like viral infection or acute bacterial endocarditis.
Okay, where do you get pale Epstein fever?
Epstein fever in Hodgkin lymphoma.
Okay, can you tell me what is pale Epstein fever?
It is like fever which lasts for about 1 to 2 weeks and has an afebrile period of 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay, so that is called as something called as a rule of 2 weeks or
So,
a rule of 14. Okay, so what happens for 14 days the patient will have fever, then again for 14 days the body temperature will be normal, again after that for 14 days the patient will have fever. This is called pale Epstein type of fever which is seen in Hodgkin's lymphoma. Okay, something off track not used nowadays, but have you heard of a terminology called as febricula?
no, sir.
Okay, I'll tell you. This is actually out of use, but sometimes the old examiners they tend to ask this. What is febricula? Febricula, it actually means a low grade fever with unknown cause.
Okay.
You are unable to identify the cause. There was a fever for a week or two, and after that, the fever automatically subsided without taking any drugs. That is called febricula. Okay, fine.
So idiopathic.
Can you tell me what is pyrexia of unknown origin?
Pyrexia.
Pyrexia of unknown origin.
Pyrexia of unknown origin. Recurrent fever may like
No, it has nothing to do with recurrence. See, name itself is telling you. Pyrexia means fever, unknown origin.
Fabricula ಇವ್ರಿವ ನಾ?
So, what do you mean by pyrexia of unknown origin? As per the latest definition or guidance given by CDC, what they say is pyrexia of unknown origin means that the patient is having body temperature of more than 39.5 degrees Celsius for more than a week, in spite of doing all the relevant investigations to establish a cause for the fever. See, what are the common causes of fever? Either bacterial or viral causes, or few parasitic causes like malaria. You have done all the routine investigations for their causes, and in spite of doing these routine investigations, you are unable to tell that what is the infectious cause of that fever. This is called as pyrexia of unknown origin. Okay.
यार इसको कुछ बोलते हैं क्या, कुछ टर्म पायरेक्सिया विद अननोन फीवर?
That is called PUO, pyrexia of unknown origin. Okay, if you answer this, the examiner will tell you the next question, that what would be your first investigation if you have a patient with pyrexia of unknown origin.
सर
Yes.
हमने इसको फेब्रिक्यूला क्यों नहीं बोला फिर?
Uh,
इट इज द सेम राइट?
yes, it's same. Your origin is unknown, but the difference from fabricula is fabricula reduces on its own without any drug therapy within a span of 1 week. Pyrexia will not reduce within 1 week. That's why they have given in the definition of pyrexia of unknown origin that you have to wait for 1 week, and in spite of passing of 1 week, the fever is still persisting and you are not able to establish the diagnosis.
ओके ओके
Okay, so that is what is the
PUO
difference.
में टेम्परेचर क्या बोला था आपने?
39.5.
ओके
Okay, so yes, I was asking, if you have a patient of PUO, what should be your first investigation for PUO? Okay, now let me tell you, to establish a diagnosis of PUO, you have done all the relevant exam investigations such as CBC, you have done hemoglobin, you have done differential leukocyte count, you have done blood culture, you have done urine examination, you have done chest x-ray, you have done ECG. Everything is normal apart from few leukocytosis or neutropenia or something related to fever causation, but you have not able to establish that what is the cause for fever. Tell me, what investigation will you do? This is a very favorite question of AIMSA. In infectious diseases section of medicine, if they want to ask, they have asked many times this: what is the first investigation for pyrexia of unknown origin? Remember, the most common cause of pyrexia of
Normal
unknown
investigation.
origin. What?
वो होता ना वो कहाँ से कितना एनर्जी रिलीज हो रहा है बॉडी में, वो मैपिंग करते हैं.
That comes at a very late stage. See, remember, if any infectious cause is not being established, then the most common cause of pyrexia of unknown origin is Hodgkin's lymphoma and a few of the leukemias or lymphomas, and that's why they have mentioned in Harrison as well that if you are not able to establish any bacterial cause for 1 week, then your first investigation has to be bone marrow aspiration. Okay, because you are thinking on the pattern of lymphomas and leukemias. Okay, so that was a quick discussion on fever. Chalo, next slide.
Menstrual history.
Okay, this is fine, not much to discuss here. Chalo, next. Okay,
Negative history.
okay, just now we will see each point, and Rohan, just tell me what is the significance of this. You have taken evening rise of temperature, weight loss and hemoptysis. What is the cause?
Yes, sir.
What are you ruling out with this?
Sir, tuberculosis.
Okay, one simple question which you might be asked in your vivas. Okay, how will you ask for weight loss in a patient? See,
Appetite.
I have personally experienced this. Many times patient themselves don't tell you that yes, I have lost weight. So you have to ask very simple question to the patient to to take this history of weight loss. See, whichever girl, especially with no offense, any lady or any girl who is attending this class, they will definitely agree that whenever a girl loses or gains a weight, what does she do? What she does first? She checks if the clothes is tight or loose. Right, same thing you have to do in your clinical practice also. Whenever a patient is coming to you and you have to ask for a history of weight loss, you have to simply ask the patient ki very commonly used clothes which you are wearing, have you experienced that suddenly the clothes have started becoming very lax? That is what is a very classic history to be asked for weight loss. तो आप पूछोगे क्या कि आप जो कपड़े पहनते हो वो फिक्स साइज के कपड़े हैं, तो पेशेंट बोलेगा हाँ दीज आर फिक्स साइज्ड क्लोथ्स. तो आपको पूछना है क्या आपको लगता है कि ये कपड़े आपको पिछले कुछ महीनों में ढीले हो रहे हैं. पेशेंट विल से येस, कपड़े तो ढीले हो रहे हैं. So this suggests that yes, probably the patient is losing weight. Okay. चलो, tar, coal dust and smoke. What is the significance of this?
Occupational disease like silicosis or asbestosis.
Okay. Contact with similar complaint.
Like community-based pneumonia.
Okay. Hospital admission.
Hospital spread pneumonia.
Okay. Malaise, back pain and fatigue.
Viral pneumonia.
Okay. Can you tell me few causes of viral pneumonia? Few organisms which cause pneumonia. Few viral organisms.
Like viral pneumonia cause करने के लिए
पूरी दुनिया क्यों बंद होके बैठी है अभी घर पे?
कोविड.
COVID.
हाँ. Okay. Anything else?
RCS, sorry, RCV, syncytium virus.
Okay. Anything? Influenza virus?
Rhinovirus भी करेगा क्या?
No, rhinovirus usually causes common cold.
Common cold.
Okay. Chest pain. Why did you ask for chest pain?
For pleuritis.
Okay, anything else? To rule out anything else, pleuritis, I definitely agree, because a case of pneumonia can sometime have associated pleuritis, but apart from that,
Pneumothorax.
okay,
Cardiac.
pneumothorax, anything? Yes, cardiac cause. Very important, because cardiac cause can also present with breathlessness and sometimes chest pain, many times with chest pain. Okay, on this note, can you tell me what is cor pulmonale?
Or pulmonary. Nice, Rus.
So cor pulmonale is right heart disease because of respiratory cause. Okay, this is usually seen with COPD when a patient has long standing COPD and he or she develops pulmonary hypertension. Because of this increased pressure in the pulmonary vasculature, there is going to be an impending right sided disease such as a pulmonary regurgitation or a right ventricular hypertrophy, or sometimes to be a very serious of right ventricular failure also. Okay, that is called cor pulmonale. So basically core का मतलब क्या होता है? Core means heart, pulmonale means respiratory disease. So cor pulmonale is a heart disease, a right-sided heart disease that develops because of respiratory disease. That is called cor pulmonale. Okay, why did you ask for headache and neck rigidity?
Like diphtheria हो सकता है और bacteria.
Meningeal symptoms.
Exactly,
Meningitis.
correct. Meningeal symptoms. See, it's very simple. After last CNS वाले session के बाद I received 2 or 3 doubts that sir, what do we ask this negative history? So please remember a very important trick. Okay, I many times tell many students or people who try to learn that, see, history taking is a art, and it is very clearly mentioned, and few of my seniors would also used to tell me when we used to go for the posting is that whenever you make a diagnosis as a clinician, your 80% of the diagnosis should be based on your history, and very important part of that history is taking negative history. Now for what do you take this negative history is 3 points. Okay, one point is to emphasize and to make the picture clear for the diagnosis. Say like suppose you are thinking of pneumonia, you will take negative history in order to check that whether this patient is really going towards pneumonia or not. Second is to rule out the differential diagnosis. Like मैंने अभी just इसको पूछा when he was telling me the different chief complaints. At that time I asked him that breathlessness है, okay, acute breathlessness का one of the most common cause क्या है? Pulmonary embolism. So if my patient is coming to me with acute breathlessness, to rule out these possible causes of the complaint, that is to rule out the differential diagnosis or to reduce the list of differential diagnosis, we take a negative history. And the third point is very important, is many of the times the main disease may have some complications which are hidden, and to take out those possible hidden complications you ask for those history. Like for example, in this case we are having a case of pneumonia. To rule out the possible associated differential diagnosis, we have asked certain questions. Also, to rule out a complication of pneumonia, which is pleuritis, we have asked for chest pain. To rule out another most important and one of the serious complications of pneumonia, that is meningitis, we are asking for headache and neck rigidity. Is that clear to everyone?
मेनिंजाइटिस में रेस्पिरेटरी सिम्टम्स भी होते हैं लेकिन
No, respiratory symptoms nahi hote. The thing that I am telling you, that your patient is supposed to have pneumonia, and if he is having pneumonia, there is possibility that because of a hematogenous spread of infection, the patient might have some hidden meningitis also. So to rule out that possibility of ongoing meningitis, you have to ask this history.
अच्छा
Okay.
आजकल बहुत कॉमन है लेकिन
Okay.
meningitis.
Exactly. So asking about those complaints. So I think you people might have got some idea that not only this case, whenever a patient comes to you and gives you some symptoms, based on the list of causes of those symptoms, you should take a negative history so that you will start reducing that list of differential diagnosis. Okay. Rohan, now tell me, swelling of feet and exacerbated coughing at night, what are you asking this for?
Sir, asthma? No, sir. Paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea.
Correct. So exacerbated coughing at night, this is your paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea, which occurs because of heart failure. And if my patient is having sudden onset chest disease, it irrespective of the complaints, it is compulsory to ask for complaints of heart failure, because many of the times the heart failure is latent. We don't have any complaints as a chief complaint. So for that you need to ask for such histories. कि पैरों में सूजन आती थी क्या? Was there some swelling in the feet? Was the patient suddenly getting out from the sleep at night? That is because of breathlessness and coughing. So that is your exacerbated breathlessness at night, which is called paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea. Okay, pulmonary embolism, immobilization, fine. OCPs, okay, no history of complaint of COVID positive patients. Why you have asked for COVID positive patient history contacts?
Because if the patient is if any of the relatives or his friends or her friends are COVID positive, then their contact is considered as COVID positive currently.
Correct. So the recent guidelines that they have sent, according to the recent guideline, if a patient comes to you with symptoms suggested of COVID-19 and has a strong recent history of contact of family members having COVID-19, then irrespective of the RT-PCR status of the patient is considered to be clinically COVID positive and should be started with treatment. Okay. Chalo, next.
Past history.
Okay. Fine. Few things to be discussed. Over here only now I'll discuss. I actually forgot to discuss that earlier in the cough part. Can you tell me characteristic description of a cough of bronchial asthma? कैसा आएगा patient, कैसा आएगा? How will be the presentation of coughing of bronchial asthma? See, whenever you practice these are very typical hints which make the diagnosis clear.
Wheezing sound,
Increasing at midnight.
Correct. So that is very, very important. A very sudden paroxysmal coughing and breathlessness at midnight is very typical of bronchial asthma. If I say instead of midnight it is a early morning cough, what would you think of?
Early morning.
Please remember, early morning coughing, think of bronchitis and COPD. Okay, fine. Okay, chalo, next.
family history.
Okay. This is pretty clear that if in family there is some communicable disease, the patient is more likely to become contracted that infection. Okay, chalo, next.
सर वो ब्रोंकाइटिस एंड सीओपीडी का अर्ली मॉर्निंग पे ही क्यों ऐसा कॉफ आता है?
See, there is a reason for everything. I'll describe for both. Now, bronchial asthma, tell me which leukocyte, which WBC is related to pathogenesis of bronchial asthma. Whether it is neutrophil, lymphocyte, or eosinophil.
You,
Eosinophil.
Eosinophil.
करेक्ट. नाउ व्हाट इज द फिजियोलॉजी? आप लोगों ने फिजियोलॉजी में पढ़ा होगा दैट द एक्टिविटी एंड द काउंट ऑफ इओसिनोफिल इज अंडर द कंट्रोल ऑफ अ हार्मोन कॉल्ड कॉर्टिजोल. Okay, now physiologically if you see, then the levels of cortisol are maximum in the morning, somewhere in the afternoon, sorry, not in the morning, somewhere in the afternoon they are maximum. Somewhere around the evening at 3 p.m. 5 p.m. the levels of cortisol start reducing, and at midnight somewhere around 12 or 11 a.m. the levels of cortisol drop down. And if the levels of cortisols are going to drop down, the activity of eosinophils will increase, and that's how asthma gets exacerbated at night. Okay, whereas in COPD what happens, COPD has nothing to do with eosinophils. COPD is usually a chronic inflammation which is usually related to neutrophils and lymphocytes, and that's why it has nothing to do with this cortisol wala mechanism. Now, why COPD exacerbates in the morning? Simply because in the morning the air in the environment is more cool, and this low temperature of the air in the environment acts as a trigger factor for the irritation of bronchial mucosa. कभी भी आप सुबह सुबह उठते हो तो आपने खुद ने भी एक्सपीरियंस किया होगा कि सुबह की हवा, द अर्ली मॉर्निंग एयर एंड द लेटर डे एयर, द टेम्परेचर इज कूलर इन द मॉर्निंग, करेक्ट? If the air is cooler in the morning, that cool air when the patient breathes in acts as an irritant for the bronchial mucosa, and that's how it irritates the bronchial mucosa and causes an exacerbated cough in the morning in COPD. Okay.
Yes, sir, about cortisol, what you told that it is stimulating the eosinophils or it is suppressing?
It is suppressing the eosinophilic activity.
अच्छा अच्छा.
कंट्रोल का मतलब क्या है? अगर आपके घर में कोई ऐसा बच्चा है जो बहुत मस्ती करता है, अगर उस पे किसी उसकी माँ का कंट्रोल है, उसकी बहन का कंट्रोल है, व्हाट डज दैट मीन? कि वो बहन वो बच्चे को रोकती है कि बाबा मस्ती मत करो, प्लीज बिहेव. So that is what is happening. Your cortisol is that elder sister and the eosinophil is that मस्ती करने वाला बच्चा in your house. Okay. चलो next ले.
Personal history.
Okay. Can you tell me what is the significance of smoking with respiratory diseases?
Smoking can cause like cancer.
Okay. Any other disease? Can COPD happen because of smoking?
No, sir.
Emphysema.
So emphysema is one of the components of COPD only. So please remember, COPD के लिए one of the most important risk factor is smoking. Okay, not in respiratory system, but can you tell me any other systemic disease where smoking is thought to be protective? Okay, we don't know the cause, but smoking is thought to be protective according to studies. Okay, we don't know the exact reason that how smoking is protective, but it is thought to be protective.
Mostly in gynae diseases.
Yes, gynecologically there are some tumors which are related to high levels of estrogen, and what happens, smoking की वजह से there is a peripheral enzyme called as aromatase which converts the androgens into estrogens, and smoking inhibits the enzyme aromatase. Basically aromatase की activity smoking कम करता है. So if the activity of aromatase is reduced, automatically the conversion of androgens into estrogens will reduce. So because of that, how the smoking is protective against estrogen dependent tumors such as breast cancer, endometrial cancer. But very important in medicine, you should remember, according to statistical data, smoking has been protective against inflammatory bowel disease, okay, like ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. Can you tell me few respiratory causes where there will be weight loss?
Respiratory.
Lung cancer.
Okay, anything else? Being in India, you should think of that infection first.
स्मॉल सेल कैंसर.
अरे कैंसर हो गया, इन्फेक्शियस डिसीज, आपके
TB.
पेशेंट को फीवर है, इज हैविंग weight loss. Yes, TB. Being in India, never forget TB. I always tell this. Yesterday also I told, in last presentation also I told you that it is said that TB can cause everything in human body except pregnancy. Okay, चलो next. Socioeconomic key significance, we know that lower socioeconomic class will have low living lifestyle which can contract infectious diseases quickly. Fine, chalo next slide. No worries. Okay, fine. अब examination में general physical. Okay, next slide.
Vitals.
Okay, can you tell me a respiratory cause of pulsus paradoxus?
Pulsus paradoxus. So
Exacerbated COPD has pulsus paradoxus, and apart from that, if you say the CVS causes, then you should always remember cardiac tamponade and constructive pericarditis, they have pulsus paradoxus. Okay, what do you mean by pulsus paradoxus?
sub decrease in systolic blood pressure
During
during the like taking blood pressure during the inspiration.
Yes, correct. So normally if you take the blood pressure during inspiration and you again take the blood pressure during expiration, okay, so during inspiration and expiration, if you measure the systolic blood pressure and you do a difference between the two, in a normal individual there should not be any difference between the two, or maximum the difference should be 10 millimeters of mercury. If there is a difference of more than 10 millimeters of mercury, this simply means that the inspiratory blood pressure has fallen too rapidly beyond the physiological limit, and this is seen most common cause. Overall, the most common cause is COPD. The most common cardiovascular cause is cardiac tamponade. Okay, even in bronchial asthma also you can get pulsus paradoxus. Chalo, next slide.
Vitals.
Okay, no need, we already know how to check the vitals. Okay, so this slide is showing about radio-radial delay. Where do you get radio-radial delay? This has actually nothing to do with respiratory disorders, but any of the cause.
A radial pulse on each arm.
Yes, so radio-radial delay simply means normally if you are palpating the both-sided radial arteries, the pulse should reach simultaneously, but if any side lags, then that will be called as a radio-radial delay. This simply means that on that side the blood is reaching late, or the force of blood flow to that right side is less. So where do you get that? You classically get that in vasculitis of that side. Okay, but in respiratory disease you should remember that radio-radial delay can be occurring in a apical cancer of the lung. Okay, आपका lung apex कहाँ पे होता है? Just behind the clavicle. In the supraclavicular fossa you have the lung apex. If you are having a lung apex tumor, it can compress the axillary artery, because of which you can get some delay in the pulsations to be reaching on that side. Okay, that is called as thoracic inlet or thoracic outlet syndrome. Okay, in that you get a radial delay. चलो आगे बढ़ो.
The radiofemoral decay.
Okay, so it's the funda is almost same. Radiofemoral delay means that the blood flow towards the femoral artery is late. Normally they should reach simultaneously, or the blood flow to the femoral artery should reach earlier than the radial artery. But if the blood flow to the femoral artery is late after the radial blood flow, that is called as a radiofemoral delay, and this is classically
Sir,
seen
lag
in coarctation
हो
aorta.
रहा है.
Okay, चलो next slide.
The pallor.
Okay, can you tell me what are the respiratory causes of pallor? Respiratory system related causes of pallor.
Anemia, like bronchogenic carcinoma.
Okay,
Then COPD.
okay, correct. Chalo, next slide. So this image is actually telling you what are the gradings of pallor. Grading is very simple. Grade mild, moderate, and severe. Now there are different systems to classify depending on a single site also. But very simple grading which we actually use in practice, which is given by WHO, is that you have to look at 3 locations. Okay, what are the 3 locations you look for checking pallor, Rohan? Yes, Rohan, what are the 3 classic locations you look for to look for pallor?
So the eye,
Sir, वो
tongue, and
आँख पे देखते हैं नीचे.
Okay,
low-
eye, tongue, and
tongue.
palms. Okay, palms. So यही sequence याद रखो. Your sclera, then you have the tongue, and then you have the palm. In this sequence you only have to tell mild, moderate, and severe. So if you are having pallor in the eye, it is considered to be mild. If you have pallor in the eye as well as the tongue, then it will be moderate. And if you have a pallor in the palm, in the palmar creases, if there is pallor, this is suggestive of severe pallor. Okay, chalo, next. Okay, next. Okay, can you tell me the types of cyanosis?
So central cyanosis and peripheral cyanosis.
Okay, so respiratory disease है. What type of cyanosis will you get? Central or peripheral?
In case of it, central cyanosis.
Okay, can you tell me a respiratory cause of central cyanosis?
The decrease in hemoglobin, like hemoglobin abnormality की वजह
Is it a
से
respiratory cause? See, methemoglobinemia, carboxyhemoglobinemia,
Yes,
and toxic hemoglobinemia, these are all chemical or hematological causes. I want a respiratory cause of cyanosis.
alveolar or something. क्या बोलते हैं? Alveolar disease.
Have you heard of respiratory distress syndrome? Yes, so in respiratory distress syndrome and in case of respiratory failure, you can get a cyanosis. Okay, can you tell me few causes of peripheral cyanosis?
peripheral cyanosis could be nice sir.
Okay, peripheral cyanosis you usually get if a patient is living in a very cold environment or a extreme cold climate, you get peripheral cyanosis. Or you can get peripheral cyanosis where there is a very severe peripheral vasculitis. Okay, have you heard of Raynaud's phenomena? So Raynaud's phenomena, it is actually a deposition of antigen antibody complexes with response to cold temperature. So what happens is if a patient is having a severe autoimmune disease such as systemic sclerosis or SLE, systemic lupus erythematosus, in such conditions what happens, there is a antibody which is already present in the blood. When the patient goes in a cold environment, the antigen and antibody complexes, they deposit in the blood vessels in the periphery. Now you know that in this image also you can see that hand is very blue in color. The problem is the arteries at the end are end arteries. At the tip of your finger, the arteries are end arteries and are very thin or very narrow lumen arteries. So when antigen antibody complexes they deposit there, the blood supply to your extremities reduce, because of which you get bluish discoloration. Okay, so first you get pallor because the blood flow is going to reduce, so you get pallor. After that you get cyanosis, and when the patient comes out from that cold environment, again the skin becomes red in color. So you have to remember this sequence also. This is very important. Please remember a mnemonic for this, that is PCR. Okay, you get pallor, then you get cyanosis, and then red discoloration. This sequence of discoloration of extremities in response to cold environment, this is called Raynaud's phenomena, and this is very classically seen in autoimmune vasculitis, which is seen in systemic sclerosis, SLE, and many other conditions. Okay, there is also condition called as Buerger's disease or thromboangiitis obliterans, where you classically get Raynaud's phenomena. Okay.
Did you said red discoloration?
Yes, red discoloration. PCR, pallor, cyanosis, and red discoloration. This will
रेड
be the
कैसे
sequence.
होएगा बट
Very simple है. Cyanosis हुआ, patient was in the cold environment, you suddenly come to a normal environment, what will happen? The blood vessels will suddenly pop out because the antigen antibody complexes precipitation will stop. The blood vessel will suddenly pop open, and because of this sudden pop opening of the blood vessels, there is sudden blood flow in the extremities which causes flushing and causing red color. Correct? Okay, चलो आगे.
वर्जस डिजीज में टिश्यूज का डेथ क्यों होता?
Simply because see what happens is Buerger's disease is actually thromboangiitis obliterans. So what happens, जो end arteries है, those end arteries they not transiently but permanently get occluded. The lumen permanently starts becoming narrow because of a thrombus that builds up over there, and since it is an artery which is commonly involved, there is going to be ischemia over there, and because of that ischemia the tissue that starts occurring. Okay, so usually what patient presents with is, patient is going to present with weakness in activity because of less blood supply. The patient will present with Raynaud's phenomena, and even if you don't treat such patients, or if the patient doesn't come to you even after this, then the patient starts getting gangrene. Okay, that is totally away from our topic of discussion. Sometime possibly in the next week, if I get a case of peripheral vascular disease, because in my hospital today morning only I have got a case of peripheral vascular disease. If one of my colleague who is working in the surgery department gets a history, we'll try to take that case in next month. Okay, chalo आगे बढ़ो. We have many things to discuss till now. Clubbing we have discussed last week only at the time of CNS. We have discussed light about clubbing, so let's not discuss much, but just tell me respiratory causes of clubbing. What is the most common cause of clubbing in respiratory diseases?
Lung cancer, cystic fibrosis,
Bronchiectasis. Correct. Okay. चलो आगे. So this is what is actually clubbing is. This is an image which is showing edema. Okay, chalo.
Sorry, ये बताओ.
Yes, so this we have already discussed last session, but what actually clubbing means, not if you place the fingers against each other, you should see a diamond window in between, that is normal, but if you are not able to see any diamond shaped window in between, that means it is clubbing. Okay, what is that called?
Shamroth sign.
Correct, so that is called Shamroth window or Shamroth sign. Okay. Next.
edema.
Okay, next.
Um, the
Okay,
general physical
nothing to
exam.
do with a respiratory case. Chalo, आगे.
Head to toe examination.
Okay, before going to next slide, can you tell me few head to toe examination findings pertaining to any respiratory disease?
Tuberculosis.
Okay, what would be your findings?
Like in eyes, we could find iridocyclitis
Okay,
or funicular conjunctivitis,
okay.
along with the neurogenic pulmonary edema, followed by
Pulmonary edema cannot be a head to toe examination finding, Rohan. Head to toe examination मतलब क्या?
sorry,
From head to toe, you have to just look at the patient, have a look at the skin, had the look at the visible organs, and tell what is the possible thing. So can you? One is definitely iridocyclitis, one is flictenular conjunctivitis for TB. What is spina ventosa?
what, sir?
What is spina ventosa?
Spina vindosa.
Ventosa नहीं, ventosa, 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 spina ventosa. Spina ventosa, it is tubercular dactylitis, means it is a inflammation of the fingers and the joints of the fingers in response to the tubercular antigen, that is, or in response to the tuberculous bacteria, that is called spina ventosa. So you get very rigid and very hard and painful fingers in that patient. Okay, if your patient is having TB, that is spina ventosa. Okay, what is lupus vulgaris?
Lupus vulgaris, like discharging type of.
No. Lupus vulgaris, it is a skin manifestation of TB. So you get a skin lesion, okay, a skin disease of tuberculosis. If a patient is endogenously having TB, the bacteria goes hematogenously to a site over the skin, and over the skin it develops a lesion which will be usually an annular lesion. Annular lesion means a skin lesion which has difference in consistency inside and outside. So you'll get an annular lesion with scarring in the center. There will be a lot of scar in the center. This is called lupus vulgaris, which is again a skin finding of tuberculosis. Okay, can you tell me any peripheral examination or head to toe examination finding of pneumonia?
Pneumonia.
Can you tell me a bacteria that cause bacterial cause of pneumonia where you get jaundice? See, it is not compulsory, you may get jaundice. Streptococcal pneumonia, so remember pneumococcal jaundice में क्या होता है? The bacteria remains inside the alveoli. Okay, and since the bacteria is remaining inside the alveoli, what happens? All the cells from the blood vessel are going to come as an exudate inside the alveoli in order to provide macrophages and neutrophils. Correct? So what happens during this inflammatory process, since we don't have any selective barrier along with neutrophils and lymphocytes and macrophages, RBCs also come inside the alveoli. Correct? So if the RBCs are coming inside the alveoli where already we have a lot of fluid, so now think, Rohan, tell me, if you keep RBCs inside a fluid, what will happen? By osmosis, the RBCs will drink up the fluid will go inside the RBCs, the RBCs will rupture, and when the RBCs rupture, hemoglobin will be released, which will be converted into bilirubin and biliverdin. And because of this conversion into biliverdin and then into bilirubin, you will get a hemolytic jaundice. Okay, so please remember, in about 60 to 70% of the cases of pneumococcal pneumonia, you get hemolytic jaundice also. Okay, sure.
Okay.
Next slide.
Um,
Okay, so yes, so this is your flictenular conjunctivitis. Can you see in this eye this pale colored region above and yellow colored spots below. This is what is flectinular conjunctivitis. Okay. Chalo, next slide.
Systemic examination.
Okay.
सर
Throat
तो
is normal.
अपने पेशेंट में क्या क्या होगा हेड टू टो एग्जामिनेशन में? अपने पेशेंट में क्या क्या सिम्टम्स दिखेंगे?
Everything was normal in our patient.
ओके
Okay. Coming to respiratory system. Okay, throat is normal, oral cavity, pharynx shows red edematous purulent spots. Okay, chalo, fine. So this means your patient is having pharyngitis also, right? So can you tell me if your patient is having expectorating cough and your general examination finding is showing pharyngitis, what does this suggest?
Could be streptococci type of like microorganism की वजह से streptococcal micro.
Correct. So this could be basically that since your patient is not having any contact who is having such form of illness, possibly what has happened, the patient is having long standing pharyngitis जहाँ से बैक्टीरिया लंग्स में अंदर चला गया and then it has caused pneumonia. So this pharyngitis could be the cause for pneumonia in your patient. Okay. Chalo,
Yes, sir.
next.
सर फिर से pharyngitis कैसे cause?
See, very simple. If you are having pharyngitis, now look at this image. You are having red color, right? On the left image, you can see there is very dark red color discoloration over here. Normally, your mucosa has to be pink in color, as you can see in the above part. But if you see behind in the pharynx, you are having dilated blood vessels and very dark red color mucosa. But you are not having any purulent white spots. This means this is possibly a viral pharyngitis. But if in the second image, if you see, you are seeing multiple lakes and plaques which are very much purulent, pus-like plaques. So what happens if the patient is having such pus exudate in the throat and is not being treated for long duration? What will happen when the patient will engulf the saliva or will eat something, or normally also, you know, even if we are not eating, if our neck becomes dry for a long time, we engulf our own saliva many times. So what happens during this process only, some part of this pus travels down through the trachea and goes to the lungs, and the bacteria which is living inside these exudates. Now what is pus? Pus is neutrophils and few organisms, right? So this organisms will go into the alveoli and cause pneumonia there. Okay, now here what you can see, are you able to see my arrow?
No sir.
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Okay, अब यहाँ पे pointer होता है क्या? I don't know whether we have a pointer over here. Fine. So can you see over here on this Rohan, in your PPT you have a option of showing a pointer, I think.
सर वो ऊपर टेक कंट्रोल पे क्लिक करो ना, हो
सर
जाएगा.
आप भी दिखा सकते हो, टेक कंट्रोल पे क्लिक करो.
आप की साइड से रिक्वेस्ट करोगे तो फिर मैं एक्सेप्ट करके ये
क्या?
करता हूँ.
Okay, I'll take control. 1 second. Yes, can you see now?
नेक्स्ट स्लाइड आ गया सर, लोअर एजवे.
Okay, 1 second. No, there is not such an no such an option. Okay. रोहन प्रेजेंटेशन शेयर कर सकते हो फिर?
यस यस
Okay.
यस सर.
I wanted to show you something. अब कैसे बताऊंगा? Okay. Let's see. There is some other option.
सर आप लैपटॉप से अटेंड कर रहे हो ना?
हाँ.
हाँ ऊपर दिखाएगा अगर टेक कंट्रोल करके होता है कुछ।
Go to that slide only directly, Rohan.
यस सर इसमें हाँ
Okay, so can you identify the tonsils on this side, these swellings on the two sides?
सर कौन सा इमेज पे?
Second image.
हाँ हाँ है।
Yes, so these swellings are your enlarged tonsils. So this is actually bacterial pharyngitis with some grade of tonsillitis also. And can you see this purulent membrane on the tonsil?
Yes.
So this is suggestive of purulent or acute bacterial tonsillitis also. Okay, just an added question. Can you tell me where you get orange color tonsil? Because this is a very commonly asked question as an image of tonsils. Okay, ये जो bacterial pharyngitis की second image दे रखी है ना, इस टाइप के images अलग-अलग condition के बहुत बार ENT में पूछी जाती है. So if they show such form of image, you should say it is a bacterial pharyngitis with bacterial tonsillitis. One more very commonly asked image is a orange colored tonsil. So instead of this, if they would have shown you orange colored tonsils on both the sides, where you get orange colored tonsils. This is an off-track question, nothing to related to this, but just since we are having this image, I am telling you this as an extra edge.
So tangular disease.
Which?
Tangular.
Yes, Tangier disease.
Tangier disease.
Correct. So this is a biochemistry topic actually. What is Tangier disease? It is actually a defect of a receptor called as an ATP binding cassette, which actually where actually your cholesterol is taken, converted into HDL and transported with your lipoproteins to the liver. So in Tangier disease, what problem is that this receptor through which your cholesterol is converted into HDL is lost or their activity is deficient. So what happens in different tissues, you get accumulation of cholesterol, and because of accumulation of cholesterol within the tonsils, you get orange colored tonsils. This is very classically given image. Okay, that is called Tangier disease. TANGIERS. Tangier disease. Okay, चलो.
बट वो टॉन्सिल्स पे जाके क्यों डिपॉजिट हो रहा है?
क्या? See, you are going to have cholesterol deposition in all the tissues in the body, but it is very classically visible in tonsils because the mucous membrane over the tonsils is very thin. Okay. Otherwise, every organ will get deposition of cholesterol. चलो आगे बढ़ो.
Yes,
What is trail sign?
ट्रेल साइन सर ट्रकिया अपने नॉर्मल जगह से डिविएट हो जाता है, डिविएशन ऑफ द ट्रकिया फ्रॉम इट्स नॉर्मल.
Okay, I think you have a image also ahead. वो image दिखा.
Yes sir. Just regarding the shape of
Let's
chest.
discuss this first, then we'll see trail sign. Okay, come back. Shape of chest. Okay, where you get barrel. Before that, in normal, tell me what is a normal antero-posterior to transverse ratio?
5:7.
Correct. Where do you get barrel-shaped chest?
Like
One classic example where you get barrel-shaped chest.
COPD.
Emphysema COPD. Correct. Where do you get pectus carinatum?
pectus carinatum.
Have you heard of Marfan syndrome?
Marfan.
In Marfan syndrome, you get pectus carinatum. Okay, where do you get pectus excavatum? Yes.
So don't know regarding it. Pectus.
So pectus excavatum is seen in Marfan syndrome again. Now the problem is Marfan syndrome we have variations. In few patients of Marfan syndrome you get pectus carinatum. Few patients you get pectus excavatum. But apart from Marfan syndrome, if a child has been brought to you with pectus excavatum, you should always remember one most common cause of pectus excavatum in children is bronchial asthma. Okay. Fine. चलो next slide.
ब्रोंकियल अस्थमा कैसे करेगा वो?
क्या?
How is bronchial asthma responsible for excavatum?
It is basically because of air trapping that you are getting. Your lateral parts of the chest walls, they dilate more, whereas the sternum in center remains inside. Okay, chalo. आगे.
Is this related to something adolescent?
Uh, not much of related to, not much of related to, but yes, there is one tumor in the mediastinum which is called as teratoma, which you get in the mediastinum. If you get a mediastinal teratoma, sometimes in
Yes,
mediastinal teratoma also you get pectus excavatum also.
But so teratoma is mostly common in females, right? Women's.
Yes.
So like this excavatum is mostly common in boys or males, right?
Correct.
Is it so?
Yes, it is. It is more common in boys, but then it is more common in the respiratory disorders. If it is related to teratoma, then it is more common in females. Not much of confusion to be done between males and females. Just remember that in respiratory conditions, it is Marfan syndrome and bronchial asthma where you get pectus excavatum. But if asked about it anywhere else, you should tell that even in case of teratomas also, you can get pectus excavatum. But in that case, it will be common in females. Okay, chalo. Next. Trail sign. Okay, tell Rohan what is trail sign.
Trail sign is the deviation of the trachea from its normal central position. So here we can see that it is trail sign positive in this image, since the trachea has been deviated towards the left hand side. So we can say that it is trail sign positive.
Trachea is deviated to left or it is deviated to right?
So matlab
In both the images it is deviated to single side, but on what side it is? Left or right?
Right?
Right side.
Correct, it is deviated to right side. That's why your right sided sternocleidomastoid is prominent, right? What is push and pull mechanism?
So
What is push and pull mechanism?
push and pull,
Yes.
don't know about it, sir.
Okay, so it is related to this only. If you people can allow me, can I share the whiteboard and explain it to you, because it is not something that can be explained.
Of course, sir.
Okay, sure. One sec. Let me share the whiteboard. Are you able to see the whiteboard?
Still loading.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
आपको whiteboard दिख रहा है?
लोड हो रहा है.
Okay.
In progress now.
Okay. Because I am not able to see any whiteboard till now. Okay. Yes, it's working. So, in order to tell the cause
It is
for
showing
any-
that for now only members of this organization can participate. Soon you will be able to see too.
Yes, sir.
Whiteboard in progress ऐसा दिखा रहा है.
Okay, can you see this now? Whatever I am writing.
No,
Nahi,
sir.
sir, wo-
So
No,
it is
That's that
saying
screen.
that. So it is saying only members of this organization can participate.
Okay, one sec. I'll stop sharing. It's better that I use my own whiteboard instead of using this software's whiteboard. Are you people able to see my whiteboard now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now see, this is your trachea, suppose. Okay. This is one side of the lung. This is just a representative diagram. Okay, so just don't go by anatomy. This is just a representative diagram. This is left, this is right. Okay. Now think and just tell me quickly, Rohan, if suppose I take left side, okay, as an example, if I take left side, if I am having fibrosis on this side because of any cause, it could be because of any idiopathic cause, it could be because of COVID-19, it could be because of tuberculosis. If there is fibrosis or the lung has collapsed on this side, okay, the lung has collapsed on the side, what will happen? Imagine यहाँ पे ऐसे fibrosis हो गया है. It's simple. If there is fibrosis, this fibrosed lung will pull the trachea on this side.
Yeah.
Correct? So there will be pull on this side. This is called pull mechanism. Okay? So if there is fibrosis or collapse, you get pull mechanism.
अरे तो मीडियास्टिनम के सारे कंटेंट्स आ जाएंगे फिर वहाँ पे.
Yes, exactly. The complete mediastinum will be pulled on that side. Why I am telling trachea to be specific? Because now we are looking at the trail sign. From that trail sign, you should be able to tell the causes of that trail sign to the examiner. That's why I am telling this. What is pull and pull mechanism? Now, instead of that, imagine on that side you are having pneumothorax, or you are having pleural effusion. मतलब क्या हवा है प्लूरल कैविटी में या फिर देर इज सम इफ्यूजन सम फ्लूइड इन द प्लूरल कैविटी. व्हाट विल हैपन? इमेजिन देर इज air in the pleural cavity or imagine there is fluid in the pleural cavity. What will happen? This will push the mediastinum to the opposite side. So these two will cause push. Correct? Right? So remember, whenever there will be pull, the trachea shifts to the same side. But when there will be push, the trachea shifts to the opposite side. Getting my view?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now if I say I am having trail sign on the right side, right trail. Okay. What are the possible causes? Simple चीज है. If I am having right sided trail, this means I am either having some pathology that causes fibrosis on the right side, or some pathology where there is collapse of the right lung, or I am having left pneumothorax or left pleural effusion. Is that clear?
Yes.
I'll give you one more example. If I am having trail on the left side, if I am having trail sign on the left side, tell me what could be the causes now. Either there will be fibrosis on the left, or collapse of the lung on the left side, or there is pneumothorax on the right, or pleural effusion on the right side. Getting me? This is very important. This is called pull and push mechanism.
Fibrosis or
सर लाइक हमें ये चारों साइन देखना है. अगर लेफ्ट होगा कि जस्ट लेफ्ट होगा तो हमें पुल देखना है.
It's simple. See, आपको सिर्फ साइड
क्वेश्चन
देखनी
रिपीट कर
है.
दो सर.
पुल और पुश आपको समझ में आया? Pull will always be ipsilateral disease. Push will always be contralateral disease. Right? So if I say I am having trail on right side, this means I will be have right sided pull, or I will have left sided push. Correct? Or if I am having trail sign on the left side, this means either I will have pull on the left side, or I will be having push on the right side. समझ में आया?
यस सर.
Okay.
so
So,
Yes.
these are the only 4 causes for push and pull mechanism, or there are more?
See, these are not the causes. This is the pathogenesis. Like if I am saying fibrosis, collapse, this is the pathology that is happening. There are causes under that. So if I say fibrosis as a pathology, fibrosis के causes होते हैं. There will be chronic smoking, lung cancer, tuberculosis, idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, pneumoconiosis, COVID-19. All of these will come under fibrosis. लंग कोलैप्स, किस वजह से लंग कोलैप्स हो सकता है? अटेलेक्टेसिस, a bronchogenic carcinoma can cause collapse. So that is what is the pathology that you are having. Once you are confirmed that possibly this is fibrosis, then you have to start thinking about the causes of fibrosis. Okay. So Rohan, share the screen please.
Yes, sir.
So suppose now here in this photo you are having your left sided photo. Okay, if you are having this left sided photo as your case, you can see that there is right sided trail sign. So what will you think of? If you are having right sided trail sign, you will either think of right sided pull or a left sided push. Okay, that's it. That's only the thing that you should think of. समझ में आया what is trail sign?
Yes, sir.
यस सर.
Okay, चलो next. Apex beat, it's important to look for apex beat also. Can you tell me a respiratory cause where you are not able to see an apex beat?
कोलेस्ट्रॉल एंड ओबेसिटी.
Okay, respiratory cause. Pneumothorax,
Pneumothorax.
right? Pneumothorax में क्या है? You are having air in the pleural cavity. If there is air in the pleural cavity, will you be able to see a pulsation generated through the chest wall? No. So pneumothorax.
Pleural effusion भी हो सकता है.
Yes, pneumothorax, pleural effusion. Anything inside the chest cavity which is not allowing the impulses generated from the heart to be seen from outside, that will cause an absence of apex beat to be seen. Okay, चलो आगे बढ़ो.
सर ये अपेक्स बीट बहुत ट्राई किया था सर, पाल्पेट नहीं होता है किसी में भी.
Then your method is wrong. Then your method is wrong. You should look. देखो YouTube पे बहुत अच्छे वाले videos हैं. Try to look at correct videos. I'll tell you one series that is Dr. Ghanshyam Vaidya hai. There is a surgeon called Dr. Ghanshyam Vaidya. He has taken very beautiful examination videos. There are about 60 to 70 examination videos related to anything clinical examination you want, whether it is medicine or you want surgery. You can go to that, look at the video. He has taught excellent methodology related to anything you want. Okay? Chalo. Next, local rise of temperature is present. Okay, that means the patient is having fever. Fine. Can you tell me a respiratory cause where you have tenderness of the chest wall?
Tenderness. The respiratory cause in with presence of tenderness. So जैसे edema या फिर effusion, pleural effusion.
What is tenderness?
Softening type of.
नहीं, जब एग्जामिनर जब उसको टच करता है तो पेन फील होता है.
Exactly. So pain is a symptom, but tenderness is a sign. कभी आपने खुद ने एक्सपीरियंस किया होगा या नहीं, I don't know, but have you seen any doctor if some patient is coming with abdominal pain, when the doctor palpates the abdomen or palpates the chest or touches any part of the body which is having pain, if you touch that body part, the patient's facial expressions suddenly change because of the pain, or the patient shouts out with the pain. That is what is tenderness. So if this is clear what is tenderness, now tell me where you will get tenderness.
एम्बोलिज्म में भी.
Pleura.
Exactly, pleuritis. Pleuritis में you will get tenderness. Okay, चलो next slide.
ये GVP.
Nothing to worry for that. Okay, come here. Chest expansion, inspiration is reduced in the right inframammary area. Now before going to the exact thing, can anyone tell me what are the different surface marking areas which we see when we examine chest?
सर स्टर्नोक्लेडो क्या बोलते हैं उसको,
I'll
एक
tell you very
तो
simple.
जुगुलर नॉच, फिर एक तो वो लाइन.
See, it's very simple. Clavicle को एक लैंडमार्क कंसिडर करो, निप्पल को एक कंसिडर करो, एंड स्कैपुला एक कंसिडर करो. एंड इन रिलेशन टू दैट यू हैव डिफरेंट एरियाज which are considered to be surface areas for describing the chest. Okay, one is supraclavicular area, one is infraclavicular area, one is supramammary that is just above the nipple, one is inframammary that is just below the nipple. Then in the axilla you have supraaxillary and infraaxillary, that means upper half of the axilla, lower half of the axilla. And at the back you have suprascapular, you have infrascapular, that means above the scapula, below the scapula, and you have interscapular, that means between the two scapulae. These are the different areas, and whenever you describe any respiratory system examination findings, for a palpation हो, वो percussion हो या auscultation हो, always use these areas. Now what is the significance of these? These areas will tell you at what lobe of the lung is the disease. Like for example, here you are having a reduced chest expansion on the right inframammary area. Now tell me, what does inframammary area represent? It represents lower lobes of the lung. Okay, so you can write it down, note it down in your notes, that supraclavicular, infraclavicular and supramammary areas, these three areas represent the upper lobe of the lung. Okay, then inframammary areas represent the middle lobe of the lung. I am repeating, supraclavicular, infraclavicular and supramammary area represents upper lobe, right inframammary represents middle lobe, whereas all the back-sided areas, that is suprascapular, infrascapular and interscapular areas, they represent inferior lobe of the lung. Okay, fine. Tactile vocal frimeters. How do you check tactile vocal frimeters, Rohan?
By telling the patient to utter a number or like 99 or 1,
Okay.
and the resonant sound जो आता है उससे वो
Feel करते हैं. We feel it with our ulnar border of the hand, and then you have to compare it on the both the sides. Okay. Can you tell the causes of? Can you tell the causes of right-sided lung tactile vocal frimeters reduction?
pleural effusion,
Okay.
like pneumothorax,
Pneumothorax.
Okay.
increase pneumonia में.
Yes. So remember, whenever the lung tissue hardens, na, the tactile vocal frimeters will increase. But when there is some fluid in between or air in between, the tactile vocal frimeters will reduce. Okay. Chalo. Next slide.
Assessment.
Okay, so this is the image which shows you how to check for chest expansion. Okay, so if you see the first upper thoracic expansion, what you have to do, the patient will be in sitting position. Now, firstly, always remember, respiratory system examination has to be done with patient in sitting position. Secondly, for upper lobe of the lung, you check the upper thoracic expansion. Now, how do you check that? You have to stand behind the patient and you have to keep the two hands on the shoulders, as you can see in the first image. Okay, you have to keep your hands on the shoulders and ask the patient to take deep breaths. You have to compare the movement of your hand up and down. Normally, it has to be equal on both the sides, but if it is lesser or reduced on either of the sides, this means there is some reduction in the chest expansion on that side. Then if you want to do the anterior chest expansion, in the second image you can see you have to place the thumb on the xiphisternum area with the hand, with the fingers expanded, and again you have to ask the patient to breathe, and you have to see the lateral deviation of the thumb. If the lateral deviation of the thumb is equal from the midline, then it is normal. But if there is some less deviation of the thumb, then that sided chest expansion is less. Okay. And similarly, if you want to do the posterior thorax, you have to do from the back in the infrascapular and suprascapular areas. Okay. So now if I say that in this patient I am having right anterior thoracic expansion is less, then what does this mean?
राइट साइड पे उसका
That's-
खराब हो गया लंग, फिब्रोसिस हो गया, मे बी कोलैप्स हो गया, मे बी.
So this basically means that right inframammary में chest expansion is weak. This simply means there is some pathology, some disease related to right middle lobe. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. चलो.
सर वो डेविएशन कैसे दिखेगा, वो नहीं समझा.
Okay.
ज़्यादा कम
How can I tell you? One second. फिर से स्क्रीन शेयर करेंगे तो टाइम बहुत वेस्ट होगा.
ओ सॉरी करना नहीं था.
नहीं था एक्चुअली. वेट. ठीक है. आई विल शेयर वंस अगेन. नो वरीज.
नहीं तो करने वाला था.